Weilà raga, how's it going everybody? Welcome to today's lesson in our Zero to Hero Italian grammar series. Today, we're going to be covering prepositions. Let's take a look at our whiteboard. All right, so we have preposizioni. These are called prepositions in English. Prepositions essentially give us direction. Give us direction. They are words such as at, to, in, on, and so on. Very important connecting words. These are fairly nuanced. They're not the easiest thing to teach, and so it takes a lot of practice to also get them down. But it's no big deal. We make everything easy because we're zero to hero, right? We're going from nothing to hero. Let's begin. We're going to look at a lot of examples. We're first going to begin with a. A, generally speaking, is used for to. However, it depends on the context. Usually what you have to do is just memorize what verb then gets followed by a afterwards. Usually, andare uses a after it. So, for example, if I say, vado al negozio. And I'll explain how we get from a to al in just a moment. But this means I go to the store. Vado al negozio. Usually after andare, we use a when you're saying I go to. Okay. So how did we get to al? Well, basically, you can either use a on its own. If I said, for example, vado a scuola, that's very common to say. Vado a scuola. Because school is a general thing that we all know everyone goes to, school as a concept, not the specific school down the road that I'm pointing to, we could just say vado a scuola. I go to school. We do that in English as well. I go to school. If instead I'm specifying what school I go to, and I say vado alla scuola, oh, look at this. Vicino a casa. I go to the school. By home. By my house, basically. By home. Or near home. I go to the school near my house is what this would be translated to. Near my house. Because I know if you're just saying casa, that just means home. You know how sometimes when someone is asking you how your parents are doing, they'll say, how's mom? But it's not that person's mom. And so they didn't say, how is your mother? Right? Or if you tell someone on the phone, yeah, I'm going home. We know that it means you're home. You don't have to necessarily specify. So that's when you can use a preposition just like this. We call it not articulated. And if you're specifying that specific school, I'm not just saying I go to school as a concept, I'm a student. I'm saying I go to this particular school. We make it articulated. That's what that's called. So this is a. Let's look at all the articulated forms. This is what we call a preposizione articolata. Very nice. Okay, preposizione articolata. We say when a is next to il in a sentence, it becomes al. A plus la is alla. Just like al negozio that we said here, alla scuola that we said here. Because before a noun, we always need the definite article. Il negozio, la scuola, unless it's that general concept like house or school. There's only a few of those. It's like house, school, perhaps work can also have it. A plus I is I, like vado ai negozi. I'm going to the stores. A plus le is alle. A plus L with an apostrophe is going to be A with two L's and an apostrophe. And then A plus lo is going to be allo. And A plus y is going to be agli. So it just depends on the word that comes after, what definite article it requires, and you bring it together, just like we showed. Cool. It's just a lot of memorization. Now, we also say a when we're talking about being in a city. So a means in English. When in a city or town. So if I say, sono a Roma, that means I'm in Rome. That's how you say I am in Rome in Italian. If I'm going to Rome, vado a Roma. So in Italian, it's the same, but the meaning is different. One is you are in the city, one is you're going to it. It's just the way it works. You just have to memorize it. Now, what about if I want to actually say the preposition in Italian, which exists? So, in means in when you are within something that is not a city or a town. So if I said, for example, sono nella scuola vicino a casa. This is I am within the school. I am inside of it. Sono nella scuola vicino a casa. Sono nella scuola. I'm in it. So let's look at all of in's articulated forms. In plus il is nel. In plus I is nei. In plus la is nella, like we just saw. Like I want to say, for example, in the films, nei film. In those films, like in the Harry Potter films, nei film di Harry Potter, you could say. In plus le is nelle. In plus lo is nello. In plus gli is negli. In plus L with an apostrophe is just nel with an apostrophe. So if you wanted to tell someone I am in the classroom, like a specific classroom, sono nell'aula adesso. I'm in this specific classroom at this time. Cool. Very nice. Now, in is also used for saying to when you're going to a country. So in can mean to for countries. Countries, states, large regions. For example, vado in Italia. Vado in California. I'm going to Italy, I'm going to California. Because when you go to a city or a state, it's not like a store or anything that you can actually go to the front door of, you're just within it. So because it's this idea of being within a country, you're going to the country. It's just the way that we translate it. So I hope that makes some form of sense. With time, this will get easier, I promise. Let's now talk about di. Di, generally speaking, means of. Now, of is also used for possession, or what something is made of. So if I said, for example, è fatto di metallo. It is made of metal, for example. Di is showing a sense of appartenenza, as we say in Italian. It's a sense of belonging. It has some kind of relation. What is it made out of? It's made out of or made of metal. I could also say, sono il figlio di Marco. I am the son of Marco, but this also means I am Marco's son, because they don't have that concept of S with an apostrophe in Italian. Sono il figlio di Marco just means I am the son of Marco, therefore I'm Marco's son. Fatto di metallo, sono il figlio di Marco. Let's look at the articulated form. Di plus il is del. Di plus la is della. Di plus I is dei. Di plus le is delle. Di plus lo is dello. Di plus gli is degli. And I'm sure you're starting to see the patterns here. D plus L with an apostrophe is del, written just like that. So if I wanted to say, for example, questo è l'album di foto dell'anno scorso. This means this is the photo album of last year. Basically, that is what it is of. It contains things of last year. It belongs to last year in a way. So, album di foto, it's what it's made of. It's a photo album. It's an album of photos of the year last. It's a way of saying last year in Italian. So this is the photo album of last year. Now, you could also translate this to, this is the photo album from last year. That could work in English as well. But think of it in the way that we first described it. I think that might make it the most clear. Now, let's also talk about da. Da means from. So, I could say, questo è di Anna. Oh, I'm sorry. Questo è da Anna. My bad. Questo è da Anna. This is from Anna. Da shows where something comes from. So in Italian, using di and da once again, and just memorizing what verb uses which pronoun, I would say vengo da Roma, ma sono di Napoli. This means I come from Rome, but I'm from Naples. So, this shows belonging, senso di appartenenza, scusate. Appartenenza, it's a sense of belonging. Where am I of? I am Tom of Naples, for example. That's where I come from. Ever see last names like Tom? Let's say my name was Tom di Napoli. What does that originally mean? That means I am of Naples. That is where I come from. I'm of that place. I'm of that family. It could be Tom di Michele. I could be from Michele. I'm the descendant of him. That's why a lot of Italian last names look like that. But vengo da Roma, because this is where I'm coming from. Da is always from. So you come from somewhere, but you are of somewhere. Cool, right? Cool. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. So yeah, with venire, you always use da. With essere, you always use di in these situations. Let's look at the articulated form of da. Da plus il is dal. Da plus la is dalla. Da plus I, dai. Da, Da plus le, dalle. Like for example, dalle foto sembri molto felice. Like, based on the photos, you seem really happy. From those photos, something that's coming from, I'm getting this impression from that. Dalle foto sembri molto felici. You could also say nelle foto sembri felice. Like, in those photos, you look really happy. Sono foto di te. These are photos of you. There's a belonging there. They're photos of you. Sono foto di te. See how we bring it all together nice and nice? I love it. Da plus lo is dallo. Da plus gli, dagli, da plus L with an apostrophe, dal. Cool, right? Like, questi sono le foto dell'anno scorso. Remember that? Dell'anno scorso. Or dall'anno scorso. You could say from last year in that other case then, yeah. Sono le foto dall'anno scorso. Okay, so these are photos. These are last year's photos versus these are photos from last year. Foto dell'anno scorso. Foto dall'anno scorso. What's the difference? These are photos of last year. They're last year's photo. Some sort of belonging, appartenenza. These are photos from last year. Maybe they weren't taken in that year, but this is where they came from. Hope that makes sense. I'm not going to over-explain it because sometimes if you just say something directly, it can work. That's what I've learned in my experience of making videos. Because I don't have someone looking at me directly here, I keep going, keep explaining. It's like, no, just say it once. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's enough. Very nice. So we did in, we did a, we did di, we did da. Let's now do su. So su means on. If I said, for example, il libro è sulla tavola. The book is on the table. Il libro è sulla tavola. What are the articulated versions? Su plus il, sul. Su plus la, we just saw that one, sulla. Su plus I, sui. Su plus le, sulle. Let's move down. Su plus gli, sugli. I know I'm not following like a standard order for every single one of them. Su plus lo, sullo. Su plus L with an apostrophe, sul. Just depends on the noun that comes after. These are all of the articulated prepositions, the ones that have a simple form and an articulated form. So the simple, just like a, and then articulated, alla. They go a, in, di, da, su. We have a few other prepositions as well, but they do not change depending on what comes after, such as per, which means for. So I could say questo è per te. This is for you. Con means with. Io sono con te. I am with you. We also have tra or fra. They are interchangeable. This means between. So you could say si trova, it is found, tra le due strade. It is found between the two streets. Just identifying where something is seen. Si trova tra le due strade. Now I want to talk about tra, fra, and da and per in reference to years, okay? Or periods of time. So let's just talk about periods of time. Okay. Doesn't take much to talk about this. We use da when it's ongoing. So, sono qui da 10 minuti. This means I've been here for 10 minutes. And it has the meaning of for here, because it's something that's ongoing. I've been here for 10 minutes. Per is when it's over. So I could say, ho vissuto lì per 5 mesi. I lived there for 5 months. If I'm going to go somewhere in the future, we say tra or fra. And this means in a certain amount of time. So in, let's just say, the future. So for example, vado in Italia tra 5 mesi. I'm going in 5 months. I'm going to Italy in 5 months. So if it's any period of time happening in the future, you say tra. So da, when it's ongoing. Sono qui da 10 minuti. Per, when it's over. Ho vissuto lì per 5 mesi. I lived there for 5 months. Tra or fra, when it's going to happen in the future. Vado in Italia tra 5 mesi. So that's going to be it on our lesson for prepositions. Obviously, there is more you can get into with prepositions. There are other usages you may find, such as when we're talking about the year, we say nel 2025, or nel 2025 is the way you say it. So in 2025, for example. You could also talk about things that happened in a specific year. You could use del or dal and stuff like that. But this is a nice overview. Hope everything was nice and clear. Let me know if you have any questions. Be sure to stay tuned for all of our grammar videos. And if you haven't seen our other ones yet, be sure to check them out. Always remember to spread the love. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Alla prossima. Ciao.